More video. This one is a comparison of, let's say, probably an A and about a low B to high C level essay, so you can kind of get an example. So in their introduction, here on the left side, obviously, is the better essay, and on the right side is one that isn't quite as strong. So let's take a quick look at the differences here. So this one on the left says, organized sports have become a big part of growing up for many kids today. In her article, Children Need to Play, Not Compete, Jessica Statsky says the competition of organized sports can be bad for children's self-esteem. She also says that their bodies can be damaged if they are too young. Of course, some people think that competition in sports helps kids grow up to do better in the real world. I believe that sports can be a great way for kids to have fun, but I agree with the author that if it becomes all about winning, kids can get hurt in body and mind. Therefore, there should be rules in organized sports that make age-related limits on playing. Plus, coaches should be taught how to work with kids to create teamwork and enjoyment instead of just teach them how to win no matter what. So lots of good things in here. They do have the article title and the author here. They do sum it up right up here, and they explain kind of what she's talking about. They do talk about the other side briefly here, which you're not required to do, but that's great if you want to include it. Then in here, she does say whether she agrees or disagrees. She says she agrees. And then down in here, she says what she thinks should be done instead. So nice, long, detailed introduction here. This one on the right-hand side says, many children want to play sports growing up, and many parents want them to. The problem happens when they focus too much on winning and not enough on having fun. The article discusses about children getting hurt or having low self-esteem. I think that sports can actually be good for kids in many ways. So it's a good start, but this one on the right just doesn't have enough information. They're missing the article title and the author. It's just a little bit more vague, doesn't have as much detail, and also saying things like can be good for kids in many ways. I would want to know like what ways. So that's the difference. We just want to be longer, more detailed, make sure to get the article title and the author and stuff in there. You can see the difference there. Let's take a look at a body paragraph. This one on the left says, first, kids that are too young for a sport can get hurt. Jessica Statsky says this in her article. She says trying to throw a curveball may put abnormal strain on developing arm and shoulder muscles. For example, my little brother played Little League growing up, and I remember his coach made his team practice throwing the ball for many hours. One of the boys really did hurt his shoulder. He had to have surgery, and he was only 11 years old. This is a perfect example of the danger of sports to young bodies. Sport teams should set up rules that limit the amount of practice time kids have. There should also be rules that do not allow very young children to learn difficult skills like a curveball before their bodies can handle it. So you can see again, really great, nice, long, detailed body paragraph. First, we do have a nice topic sentence here. Kids that are too young for a sport can get hurt. She does refer to the article here, but then the rest of this is all her example. So that's what I'm looking for. And it's a great example too, talking about a friend of her brother's that, hurt his shoulder when he was only 11 and had to have surgery. And then, using that to reinforce her idea that kids can get hurt. So, and then on the right-hand side, we've got many kids are not doing well in school, so they feel bad about themselves. Such kids might be good athletes, and that's how they can learn to feel better about themselves. If they win a game, it boosts their self-esteem, and they can become popular with their friends and their team members. So it's shorter, doesn't have as much detail, doesn't give an example, and also it's a little off topic. So it isn't, the article is not really about popularity or about how being popular can, how kids that aren't popular can play sports and then become popular. It's really not about that. So they're also a little off topic. So just be careful about that. Let's look at another one. This one says, second, I believe coaches should get training in how to work with kids. Most coaches are just dads who know how to play a sport. They are not professionals, and they do not know about teaching kids except for being a parent themselves. The leagues that set up soccer, baseball, and other sports should require that coaches take a class in how to teach healthy competition and teamwork, not just focus on winning. This would help stop coaches behaving like the one in Statsky's article, who set a team jersey on fire to scare the opposite team. Coaches should be a role model of correct behavior, not just teach kids how to win no matter what. So we can see in here, it's nice. She has the first, second, that's great. So she's cueing it here. Coaches need training. That's her topic sentence, which is great. She explains why, and she explains how that might help. And she, gives an example of one that wasn't trained, and then they set a jersey on fire to scare the opposite team. Obviously, that's a good example of a reason why that coaches need to be trained how to coach kids well. On the right-hand side, we've got, second of all, it is important kids get exercise. Playing sports is a good way for them to get outside and not just sit in front of the TV video games. The article says at the end that fitness should be emphasized in sports, and I agree with this. With the budget cuts in California, many gym classes are being eliminated, and kids don't get exercise at school. So sports would be a way for them to be healthy doing something fun. Again, right idea. It's a little bit longer, which is better. They do have but they're talking now about exercise, which again is not, it's a little off topic from what the article's about. And it's, it says, I agree with it. And they do have a little bit of an example here, but they're not really expanding and explaining it. So just another example there. I'll go ahead and leave this for you guys to look at on your own. I will put this up so you guys can read it. And then let's look at their conclusion. So this last one, the left side says, in conclusion, it's very important that playing sports doesn't hurt kids physically or emotionally. Therefore, there should be rules that set age limits on practice times and learning skills that are too hard for a certain age. Also, coaches should be taught in how to work with kids and set a good example of correct behavior. If these things were done, less kids would be hurt and more kids would grow up with good memories of playing sports. So nice and specific. She summarizes, the things that we already saw in her body paragraphs. So nicely done there. And then this one, in conclusion, there are many ways that sports are good for children. They can learn to feel good about themselves, they can get some exercise, and they can learn to compete in a healthy way. The answer is not to take sports away from children. So again, the article wasn't really about taking sports away, wasn't really about exercise, but they're on the right track. At least they do have 3 different, things in here. So the one on the right side is on the right track. They have the right idea. But what I would do if you start out with the one on the right is to then go back once you've got, and use it kind of like as a baseline, and then go back and fill in and add examples so that it's more like the one on the left. Okay, thanks guys.